Thank you very much for coming today. I appreciate it. I am Detective Sergeant Brandon Price of the Toronto Police Homicide and Missing Persons Unit. I'm here to update you about Homicide 55 of 2019. I'll give you just a brief overview of the events, and then I'll pass on some new information. In October 2024, right now, is the 5-year anniversary of the killing of Matthew Dreaver. He was a 16-year-old boy with an entire life ahead of him. Matthew was out that night, 5 years ago, with one of his friends, a 14-year-old boy. They had an interaction with two men who were in a 2007 to 2012 black or blue Hyundai Santa Fe SUV with 4 doors. This interaction was in the area of Woodbine Avenue and O'Connor Drive in Toronto. The interaction with the two men led to the two men getting back into the SUV and chasing the boys who had fled on foot. The men searched the area for some time, but later found the two boys near Stan Wadlow Park, which is in the Cedar Vale and Cosburn area. The passenger got out of the vehicle while the driver remained in the vehicle and chased after the boys in his SUV. The driver mounted the curb, drove over the sidewalk onto the grass, and then struck Matthew Dreaver with the SUV. He drove, there's video footage that is being released as well, or that was previously released that we will link to. He drove off camera out of the area of the surveillance camera, that footage that we have, and picked up the passenger that had previously been in the vehicle, and then they fled the area. An extensive and exhaustive investigation was undertaken by the Toronto Police Service Homicide Squad at that time. We have not been able to identify the suspect to this point. So, as part of this ongoing investigation on the 5th anniversary of the event, I'm making an appeal to the public for any further information about the incident. I'm also making an appeal directly to the man who was the passenger of that vehicle on that night in 2019. I believe that you were not in the vehicle at the time the driver ran over and killed Matthew Dreaver. I also believe that you did not know that the driver was going to run over Matthew. I am looking to speak with you as a witness in this event. I need you to come forward to speak to us so that we can solve this case. Find justice for Matthew, have some closure for Kelly, his mother, and the whole family, including his friends and, of course, the community at large. Kelly?
Good morning. Matthew was a loving, fun, selfless boy. He was a thoughtful and charismatic. He was my son, a brother, a grandson, a nephew, and we're having an uncle. Matthew was taken from us. Matthew was taken from us 5 years ago. Rick destroyed our family, left us with many unanswered questions. Why? How could this happen to my child? When will Matthew be able to rest peacefully, knowing the person who did this are held responsible? Today I speak out to anybody who may have information that could help bring Matthew justice and family to closure. Since Matthew's voice was silenced 5 years ago, I have been using my voice to speak for him and trying to bring justice for Matthew's case. Matthew was just a 16-year-old boy who had life ahead of him before he was robbed of that. So please, if someone you know have information that could bring us closure, finding his murderer, please speak out. Thank you.
Okay, I can take a handful of questions if you're ready.
Detective Sergeant, what's new in the last few years? Is this case still active, or has it gone a little bit cold?
We've sort of exhausted all of the available avenues of investigation to this point. So pending some new information, it's going to be difficult to develop identify the suspect. But having said that, you know, over the years we've seen successful prosecutions and investigations that come back to life from unforeseen things and new technologies and all this kind of stuff. So there's always a possibility, and we still have a monstrous data set of information that that we can reference and continue to analyze as well. So,
because it's been 5 years since it happened, do you believe that there's a chance that people other than the two people in the car know what happened because they may have told somebody or shared the information, that there's other people out there who do know what happened?
yeah, I mean, that's certainly a possibility. There's we certainly hope that people have been talking and can guide us to that.
Do you have any sense, Detective Sergeant, of whether these two men live in the GTA? I know that you were trying to gather additional surveillance. Any sense of like what direction they headed in? I know you said that they are off screen at one point.
Yeah, so they went, or the driver went off screen, and that was where the passenger was picked up. They then fled, and they went east from the area over the O'Connor Bridge, and then continued into Scarborough. So, yeah. So I mean, I can't say certainly that that they're residents of Toronto or anything like that, but they were in the area for quite some time ahead of the incident. So I would expect they're likely to be, but I wouldn't be able to say for sure.
Detective Sergeant, can you speak to what may have happened in that interaction? I seem to remember from back at the time, it happened and they originally had an interaction in the Shoppers parking lot.
That's right.
Can you speak to what the nature of the interaction was, what caused the argument?
So the interaction was at the rear of that Shoppers Drug Mart. That's at the corner of Woodbine and O'Connor. It was quite far set back in the dark parking lot area, furthest to the south end of that lot. The two boys were in the area, and they came in contact with the driver and passenger. The nature of that is, you know, unclear exactly what was going on, but they spoke to or were confronted by the persons in the vehicle. So that's what I can say at this point.
But for these two suspects to go to such lengths to hunt them down as they did and to look for them and you know, why? Because that was always my question.
I mean, I don't think that we can say with any certainty. It's certainly not clear to us exactly what was so shocking to them that they felt, or that the individual, the driver, felt that he needed to do that. So I don't know what was the strong motivation. Certainly was nothing to indicate to us that there was anything criminal taking place up to that point. So I don't know.
It's part of today just to let the two people who are alleged to have done this know that just because it's been 5 years, you guys haven't gone away, that the search is still on.
Well, certainly there's still an effort, but really what this is to clarify is like I said here, I want that individual who had exited the vehicle. I know that he exited the vehicle, so he's not in it when the actual offense is taking place. To me, at this point, he is a witness. I need to speak with that individual. I can picture, I know how I would feel in this situation. Keeping a secret like that is a very heavy burden, and I think if he was concerned about culpability, and that's a motive for him not to come forward, I think that this statement here from me to say that I don't have any information that you're culpable in this, so I want you to come forward as a witness to help clear this up for us.
Can you just speak to such a shocking incident? It's so unusual to see something like this, and I know it was very also shocking to the general public. Can you just speak to just the the rarity of an event like this and the need to try to clear this up?
I mean, listen, a person who has a fuse so short that they will do this to a 16-year-old boy is a danger to our community. You've seen the footage that was released in the past. It's a terrible event. It's a tragic ending to a life that had so much future ahead, and so it's heartbreaking to see, and it's that much more painful in that we cannot have the closure for the community and the family and friends here today even. It's certainly a rare event to see something like this. Beyond that, that's about what I can say about its rarity. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I know the family didn't want to say anything, but I remember this day, and when I saw this news release, I went, wow, this has been 5 years. I think COVID, of course, everything seems to be before COVID and after, and I always think, where would Matthew Dreaver be today? I know, a lot's happened in those 5 years. I know the family doesn't want to take questions, but maybe this is something they could address, because I'm sure that's something every day they think about if you were alive now.
Is anybody comfortable to take that, or I can speculate on your behalf? I'm happy to do that.
I think Matthew probably would.
Do you mind coming over here just so we can all get that?
Introduce yourself. Yeah.
My name's Brooklyn. I am Matthew's best friend. I think Matthew would have been going to college by now. I think that he would be living a great life, working his own job, being a strong, independent, Indigenous man. I think he would be living life and loving his brothers and his sister and his nephews. That's where I think Matthew would be. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming, and that concludes today's press conference. I'd just like to remind anyone with any information, please contact the police, and to remain anonymous, contact Crime Stoppers at 416-222-TIPS. Thank you.